What's up, chat? Happy Monday, November 29th, 2021. How are we doing? You guys doing all right? You have a good weekend? Some football yesterday. Huck it, chuck it. Football, some basketball to boot. It was a fun weekend. Can't complain. Yesterday's football slate. I'm telling y'all, football don't make no sense. It don't. Somehow, I was way above the field, Leonard Fournette. And I had Cordell Patterson as a tier 1 running back. So we made money, but still awful product. Awful product. What's the product? How'd you guys do? What's up, chat? How are we doing? Happy Monday. Fish fan. E made it. Mike B. Guys, look. You can see the dent. I dropped the bank. It wasn't open. And I don't know. I guess I thought it was like soda. I thought it was going to explode everywhere. And it's my last one, but I dropped it. So I don't know if that's a bad omen or what, but we drinking it. What an ABG. Gonna run out of steam talking about game number 8 now. Ain't gonna happen. I got y'all. Lorenza, what up, Big League Stew? Obi-Wan. Josh in the chat. Quan, am I crazy to want to play 3 Spurs tonight? No, I don't think you are. We'll talk about the Spurs game for sure. Actually, I just put some projections into my spreadsheet, and DeJounte Murray was number 1 on the slate. I think about some of the names around today's slate. So DeJounte Murray been my DFS spirit animal, getting up there, man. That's what you like to see. JNY DFS football is drunk. Yes, sir. Any Max Scherzer fans in the chat? Any Mets fans in the chat? Getting the bag. Mad Max in New York. That's fun. What's up, Rich Homie Quinn? What up, Jay? Why is Derek White getting crazy ownership? Man, he's doing his thing. I want to get to DeJounte and Keldon. Kind of want to get Derek White, but his ownership's annoying. Yeah. I guess pushing back on the chalk is natural, but what are you going to do? Chat, happy Monday. Happy Monday. We have got plenty of basketball to chop up tonight. It is Cyber Monday, as you see below. Look at that. Isn't that cool? 20% off rundfs.com memberships. Coupon code Cyber. I don't know what the code is. Whatever's on the graphic, use that. So if you guys want to hang out before lock, we'll be in the pre-lock Discord voice chat. But yeah, man, how'd you guys do yesterday? Did you play some DFS over the weekend? You play some NFL? I want to know. What up, Byron's Journey? Doing all right? DeJounte over LaMelo in a game against his brother. That's always fun. What up, Dez? I'm riding the DeJounte train with you tonight, man. I hate for everyone to finally, get on board. I've been getting DeJounte Murray at 9% owned every slate. And, people are starting to smarten up on what he's bringing to the table. I think he should be most improved player. I think the steam on guys like Miles Bridges is cooling off. Those guys that had step-ups because of, backups being out, PJ Washington being down like Miles Bridges, and those guys got extra minutes and extra volume. There was a stretch where Terry Rozier was out. DeJounte Murray, man, all year long, all year strong, man. He's going to be out there doing it. So as long as he's healthy, expect him to go. And as he goes, so do the San Antonio Spurs. So I love that. I love DeJounte Murray. He's my new dude. Lorenzo says, I don't know if I can say this and not get demonetized. Give me both balls and a little Christian Wood. All right. What up, Encore? Man. We have a lot of basketball tonight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We got 9 games on the docket. A couple of lopsided spreads, but we're going to do our due diligence as we peruse through the lobby today and try to carve out our player pool. It will be a solo cast, but I think that's fine, right? I think we can handle this. A little bit more opportunity to be even more interactive with you guys. And then the last time I did a solo stream, I thought about doing like my carving out my player pool via Fantasy Cruncher on the air, but it kind of got a little too not too complicated, but it just ran short on time. So I want to do that type of stream, but I think it needs to be a little bit smaller of a slate. So we'll keep an eye on a perfect slate size coming up. But shout out to Chronic. Chronic is in California for the week, and then Raj will be back tomorrow for the week. We have a pretty strong week of slates. I think every slate this week is a medium to big size slate, so none of those 2-gamers, 3-gamer punt slates. So hopefully we make us some bankroll this weekend and get that into a really good Christmas, right? Who else in the chat, man? You guys rolling in here. Dang Lazy Mofo. Dang Lazy Mofo got a new avatar. I was like, what? Cashed on both NBA and NFL, no jackpot though. That's what's up, Obi-Wan. It's always next time. Yeah, NFL, man. I've fallen out of love in NFL, and that's not, like I said, I'm not even like, it's not like I'm bleeding money on it either. Like I said, Cordero Patterson was a tier 1 running back for me yesterday, like 3% owned, and I don't know. I made money, but it's just the product is like not fun to watch. The DFS game itself is a little flimsy. I don't know. You guys know I'm a big baseball guy, and all throughout the baseball season, like NFL regulars, NBA regulars, like I can't play baseball. There's too much variance, and I'm just like, are you guys conscious during the NFL season? Because that's pretty variant. What up, Nate Wagner? How you doing, bro? Scott Duran, what's up, buddy? Playing both the Ball brothers, smelling a friendly brotherly competition. I like that. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving, gun man. I appreciate that. Josh plays, enjoyed being on Osmo. I appreciate that. You guys, this week, I think I only have 2 shows on Osmo this week, so it's a pretty dry week unless they need me to tag in. But I think it's Friday afternoon for the NFL Top Stacks and then Saturday morning. But I always love when you guys are over there dropping the years and showing some love. What up, Mike B says, I'm building around Murray and Joker. Hope Joker plays. Yeah, I would like Jokic to get back on the saddle. Cali Chronic, sounds familiar. Whoa. What up, Alex? Darn. What up, Darn? Shout out to the shop. Darn, you out in the shop today? Shout out to everybody out there in Darn's shop if you are. Make sure you're tipping the homie. You know what I'm saying? He got you faded. He got you looking right. So you better get him looking right. Don't make me find you, because I will. How are you coming on? ABJ, can't believe I doubled up on that trash NFL slate, bro. I saw some crazy lineups that, like, if you took out the score, like, oh, that's a decent lineup. Like Cam Newton's and stuff like that, and it just like tanked. It was oof. Yeah, what up, Mundo's World? What up, Jared Bell? Crispy in the house. Yeah, what up, House of Pain? Man, you guys are killing it. What up, Dave Jones? Happy Monday, boys, man. You guys showing up strong. 50 plus viewers in a matter of minutes, man. You know how humbling that is? I love it. I know we'll clear 100 within another half an hour. I know there's a lot of other live shows right now, a lot of NFL stuff. So for you guys choosing this one to vibe out, man, that means a lot. So we're going to do our best to make it worth it. If this stream gets to over 100 likes, you know the drill. I'll give out another week pass at rundfs.com. And we have the Cyber Monday special going on too, right? What up, Mike B? Boogie Milwaukee? Yeah, DeMarcus Cousins signing with the Bucks. Might be a little bit of a not tipping your hand, but they've only had one game out of Brook Lopez on the season, so I guess they want to be better safe than sorry. Get Boogie in the house. That was one of the bigger signings, and then of course all the other signings right now is basically baseball. With Max in New York, Kevin Gossman, Toronto, stuff like that. Byron Buxton re-signed with the Twins. Starling Marte to the Mets, right? A lot of shakeups, a lot of who signed with the Rangers yesterday? Was a Story? It might have been. I feel like it was an ex-Rocky. That's not. Oh, it was John Gray, and now it looks like maybe Trevor Story comes into the mix, right? What up, Josh? So many Joshes. There's my girl. Shout out to Danny in the chat. Mia Moore. She's down there in H-Town, Houston. Oh, we up here in wacky Waco. Let's go to the breakdown screen, man. And let's talk about the presenting sponsor. One of them, right? RunDFS.com. You guys know that is the mothership of all things Gundacker Analytics. If you guys want access to the spreadsheet, we'll be using throughout the duration of the stream, go to RunDFS.com, get yourself a VIP membership. Remember, coupon code Cyber will get you 20% off of anything. So when you click VIP memberships, you find something that you like. Say you want a week pass, $20. Usually, you click that. It'll open up, and then you see have a coupon. You click on that, and you type in the coupon code Cyber, and then Mr. Sam Hilliard, $15, $16 for a week pass. So if you already have a subscription, you can add another one on to that, or if you've never tried it before and now, it's as cheap as it'll ever be. So go take advantage of that. Everyone that gets a VIP pass on the stream will get a shout out, as long as I get the notification on my phone. And yeah. What do you say? We talk a little bit of NBA DFS for a Monday night slate. I love it. Remember, there's only one game at main slate lock, so if you're a photo finish, CSV upload guy like me, really just prioritize what you want from this Magic Sixers game. You get a little extra time to breathe. Damron in the chat says, I'm afraid to read this comment without... Yep. I was right to be afraid. What up, pocket quarterback Lamar Jackson? Way too many players coming off of career games for NBA or NFL. Or for NFL, NFL's nuts. How are you gonna get your puppy when you're not here? You know what I'm saying. What up, William Lewis? What's good? When I finally win one of these NBA slates, I'll subscribe to a year long. Let's go. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Yeah, hit those likes. Get those likes up, boys and girls, and we'll get a nice little giveaway at 100 likes. So I have every screen that I need open. Well, I guess let's start with the news. Let's go to Underdog on Twitter and see if they dropped it. Did they drop that 3 p.m. tweet? Let me refresh. Refresh. There we go. Key news to watch as of 3 p.m. Eastern via Underdog. Nikola Jokic, questionable. Jimmy G buckets, and the G stands for you gotta wait and see. He's questionable. Zach LaVine, questionable. Miles Turner, questionable. Mo Bamba, questionable. Game time decision. Jared Vanderbilt, questionable. Royce O'Neal, questionable. I think he missed the last game. T. Ross, questionable. Jokic and Butler and LaVine, obviously the big boy names here. But yeah, if any of that news shakes in the right or wrong direction, it will create a lot of usage redirections, right? Maybe Sabonis gets back in the mix, get a little bit more big man minutes. Tyler Hero's listed as out, 6-man for the Miami Heat. Maybe elongate the minutes for Kyle Lowry. And if Jimmy Butler didn't miss, it would definitely up the potential responsibility of a Kyle Lowry. Maybe like a Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, guys like that. But we'll talk about that game to game here. So let's pop open that RunDFS.com NBA VIP spreadsheet and make sure I got all these other tabs ready to go. I got tabs ready to go. Let's get Wowie. Let's get rotations. And then later we'll pop open prize picks. Do we have stab me? We have stab me. So we're good. We're Gucci, fam. Right? Orlando Magic at the 76ers. Game number 1 on the docket. Project starting 5 for the Magic. Jalen Suggs, Gary Harris, Franz Wagner, Wendell Carter Jr., and Mo Bamba. He's got hoes calling. It's not the same without Chronic. Tyrese Maxey, Seth Curry, Matisse Thybulle, Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid. 205.5 is our total. A 14-point spread in favor of the Philadelphia 76ers. Massive. Joel Embiid, by the way, over the weekend, he came back and he played minutes. I saw him. I saw a quote from an excerpt from an interview he did saying that he thought that Corona was getting him, but it looks like we could feel a little bit better about his conditioning right now and maybe his I don't know, just physical ability. He played 45 minutes against the T-Wolves in his first game back. 42 real points, 70 fantasy points. So do we get the unleash Joel Embiid? Is he ready to go? If you guys remember last year, anytime you can get Joel Embiid without Ben Simmons, you would do it. And today on Fanduel, you get him at 10.1K. On DraftKings, 10.5K. The caveat, the pushback, the scare here is, will the game stay competitive? And will the 45-minute Embiid from last game, which is probably, 35 minutes in regulation, turn into 28-minute Embiid against an Orlando Magic team that has been so bad. Offensive efficiency, they ain't got it. We sort the league from worst offensive efficiency to best. They're bottom 4 in that category, and they've been limping along without Cole Anthony. He's out again, so this is a rough spot for the Magic to I don't know, to believe in the Magic to keep it going. So what has thrived even in these blowouts for the Magic? Hey, Wendell Carter Jr. 6,500 on FanDuel, 6,300 on DraftKings. He's been a per minute monster and has really diced up a couple slates lately. 40, 48, 36 his last 3 games. He should be a 7+K player. So even in the face of spread diversity, he should be somebody that cracks the player pool. Definitely would be in mind. And if Mo Bamba doesn't play this game, he is currently questionable, then it would just heighten the minutes. Yeah, you might worry about a little foul trouble going against a guy like Joel Embiid, but his production per minute and his potential upside at this price point is just way too high to ignore. So you'll find me in the streets playing some Wendell Carter. Hopefully we don't have to give up like a ton of equity to be even or above the field, but it's certainly somebody that I think is just way too underpriced in the now. Looking at the Mo Bamba news and notes, he's questionable with lower back spasms. He was originally deemed to be available for Saturday's game against the Cavs, but then he was ultimately scratched from the lineup. And then we saw Robin Lopez fill the resulting void and played and got himself 13 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, yada, yada, yada. So if Bamba doesn't play here, you might expect more of the same there. And then Terrence Ross, questionable with lower back spasms as well. He played 11 minutes Saturday and then had to exit, succumbing to the injury. So if he doesn't play today, there's a couple ways I think you can game script the Magic to fall through here. If Terrence Ross is down and if you believe that this game kind of blows out, one of the guys that would rise up, at least in potential, it's not DraftKings at least, is RJ Hampton. And I made this case a few times that Hampton would be the hedge to Jalen Suggs. But I would be very, very vigilant in making sure that there was no overlap, because the big Hampton games against Milwaukee were games that the Orlando Magic got blown out. So
let's go home. Let's go home.
Let's go home.
Let's go home. Let's go home.
Oh no.
I bet Jokic has pancake and nipples. Dameron out.
Oh man. Anyway. Oh no, I forgot to take the hamburger meat down. No. I'll just buy some fresh ones probably. Anyway, so RJ Hampton's big games, 2 of these big games came in complete blowouts. So if we pull up the NBA rotations for the Orlando Magic, damn Ron. Shout out to damn Ron. Looking at the 2 games against Milwaukee, RJ Hampton. If I could be serious for a moment, to go Lance Storm on you guys. RJ Hampton against the Milwaukee Bucks, game number 2. He closed out. He played essentially the final, 16 minutes, and that was minutes that was completely opposite of Jalen Suggs, right? And same with the game prior. So I think if you think that this game could be a blowout, but you want to have a little bit of Jalen Suggs, but maybe a little bit of Hampton, I think all you got to do is set a rule in like on Fantasy Cruncher or set a group, put Suggs and Hampton in the group, at most one player from this group. That way, I feel like it's a little bit more correlated to the realistic range of outcomes, where Hampton's upside comes from Suggs' downside, right? And then past that was a couple of games where the game stayed a little bit closer, and the usage for Hampton wasn't as high. And with Gary Harris in the starting lineup here, I think if Terrence Ross was out, you'd be looking at Hampton and probably Michael Mulder as the backup guard. So that's where I'd be at on that, and that's how I would play that. On the 76er side, other than Joel Embiid, you can make cases for everyone, but you're playing with the will it blow out, will it stay competitive kind of narrative. I think Tobias Harris at 7.6K on FanDuel, you can get to 40 plus. Seth Curry, you need 30 to feel like you're getting a good deal there. And Tyrese Maxey, minutes are there for him, but you just feel like this is the healthiest that the Sixers have been all year. And if Shake Milton can go, like, we might see one of the more diluted minute rotations that the Sixers have put out there all season, and we might have to wait a couple games for the price points to maybe stabilize to optimal clickability. I'm scared to get caught up on chat right now, but I'm gonna do it. Carlisle's using Sabonis way different this year. Yeah, if Butler misses, I'm gonna be all over the Lowry triple double. Let's go. Gunn, take the hamburger meat down. I'm almost certain he didn't take the hamburger meat down. I did not take the hamburger meat down. If she get home and it's still frozen, it's gonna be some problems. Oh my gosh. My gosh. Because you say random stuff. Who, me? Wagner. Yeah, so Franz Wagner, I think he's at 5K now. I really need close to 30, but when he was closer to 4K, then I felt like he was really giving us some solid value opportunity. As far as like just straight up value scores themselves, like if you can trust in the Magic, the projected minutes that I put on Jalen Suggs, spat back 30 fantasy points, that's something I'd be okay with. And then Mo Bamba and Wendell Carter, I think, are chipping chairs at their price point with a little bit more upside. So if you standard deviate, 10 fantasy points here, meaning every now and then he's going to get plus 10 on the median projection. I think Wendell Carter Jr. has proven that as a potential range of outcome here. Then, yeah, I think they're in play. It's just the Sixers. Nobody other than Embiid kind of popped as a solid projection for me. And then, like I said, Embiid's usage in the last 2 years without Ben Simmons is extremely high. Earlier this season, he had some issues, and a lot of it looks like it could have been post-COVID related. Good to see that he was able to play deep minutes and sustain high usage in that Minnesota game. They ended up losing off that D-Russ sniper shot, but it's a good sign for Embiid. So I think this game really boils down to, do you think it stays competitive long enough, strong enough? Danny says, if you buy groceries before I get home, please, some water and juice. What is happening? Hampton's the kind of low on GPP dart throw that wins tournaments but can't be prioritized. Yeah, I agree with that, ABG, but like I said, it's just one of those guys that I would correlate as opposite Suggs. So, because sometimes if you put them in the opto together, they'll fall in the same line, and it's not always correlated positively. You know what I mean? What up, Dez? I need some help with forwards tonight. Who are the plays, guys? Okay, don't play Tony Snell. Stop it. My boy Stu, when it said Tony Snell was starting, he was like, well, that probably F some stuff up. And, I had to hit him with the poster. Let me see if I can, I'll show you guys. Y'all remember the famous Tony Snell game? No. February 24th, 2017 against the Utah Jazz. 0 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists. 0 blocks, 0. My man had the ultimate cardio game, so I couldn't do it. Simmons the best value of the night. Anthony Simmons, I can see that. Any Maxi, man, 7.5K. Like the Magic are. Let's go home.
Let's go home, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go home. Let's go home. Let's go home.
More dollars in this super chat than Snell DKP.
I mean, he's probably not wrong. What's that, 5? Let's see if Snell breaks 5 GKP tonight. But yeah, I mean, Maxey has a case here. I just think at 7, in the 7 pluses, he's kind of in no man's land if he's got a healthy guard rotation around him. Remember, his big minutes were coming at the absence of guys like Danny Green, Joel Embiid, obviously. And now that it just seems like everyone's healthy enough, especially if Shake Milton's in. It could be Seth Curry, it could be Maxey, it could be Milton. Korkmaz is a guard in that rotation. It's just, I don't know. We were paying 8K for 40-minute Maxey, and it looks like 33 is a little bit more reasonable, and his usage will can't help but go backwards with Tobias Harris back. He was out for a stretch, and Joel Embiid. So probably short answer is no. And 150, yeah, maybe we diversify a little bit more just to get there, but I think in 20 or less, I'm probably not really there. Tyrese Maxey here. Let's move on to the next game here. Denver Nuggets at the Miami Heat. Project starting 5 for the Nuggets. Monte Morris, Will Barton, Aaron Gordon, Jeff Green, and Nikola Jokic taking on Kyle Lowry, Duncan Robinson, Jimmy G, Buckets, PJ Tucker, and Bam Adebayo. We got a 208 total, 7.5 point spread. Nikola Jokic going against the Markieff Morris Miami Heat. Hold up. Wait. What? Yeah, so we do have some injury news to watch on this game. So let me pull up the Miami Heat injury report. Obviously, we know Tyler Hero is going to be out. Jimmy Butler's the big one here with this Q-tag. He's dealing with a tailbone contusion. He took a hard fall during Saturday's win over the Bulls. Hence his addition to the injury report. So with Hero out and Butler questionable, we could see an opportunity for big minutes out of Kyle Lowry, big usage out of Kyle Lowry, and then, of course, the uptick for Bam Adebayo. So we'll use this as an opportunity to explore the on-off court tool via Add More Funds. If you guys want to check it out, ! AMF in the chat. It's free to use. They do have a paid version. That's the version I'm using. It's really, really cheap, and it's a really good resource. So you should definitely add it to your daily. Robbie Ray to the Mariners is the notification I just got. 5 years, $115 million deal. Interesting. The Mariners. I guess the Mariners were technically they were in the mix, right? I don't know. Sorry, chat. You know I'm a baseball nerd. This stuff excites me. Let's go to this year. But I guess we could go back to last year. But what I want to do is check out some usage rates. Let's take off Hero and Jimmy Butler, and I guess I want to put on Lowry and Adebayo. Just kind of see the kind of numbers we're getting. I think we know the usage is going to super spike in their benefit. I'm a Cardinals fan. We aren't doing anything with it. Yo, Nate. The Cardinals will go find the most average lefties on the market and turn them into like studs, man. Just find who's the oldest guy in like Rich Hill's about to sign with the Cardinals or something, right? We don't have any sample size here, but the usage rate on the sample size 25%. If I back that up, I don't know. I think the Jimmy Butler news would be pretty strong. I think the 6,800 Fanduel price point for Kyle Lowry is going to be a little too soft here. It's already spitting back a pretty positive projection. Already expecting no Tyler Hero. If Butler was out, it'd only be that much stronger. Jokic has been missing quite a few games here with, I believe, a wrist injury. But it doesn't look like he's missing his like cardio and stuff. I keep seeing clips of him getting full sprints in before games. But he is officially questionable for this game. So if he can play, or if he can't play, it'll be his 5th game in a row that he missed. If he can play, His brothers will be in the crowd and they'll be looking for revenge. But 11.3K on Jokic on Fanduel, 11.4K on DraftKings. Usually, I don't even think about centers against Adebayo, and there was a game very similar to this game. It was this game where I thought the same thing. I was like, you know what, Adebayo or Jokic is like the most expensive guy on the slate, and he's going against the literal toughest matchup in all of basketball, Bam Adebayo, at least for a center standpoint. And I was like, I'll just stay away. And Jokic, he does not care. He dropped 70 fantasy points in that 33 minutes of action. He averages dang near 2 fantasy points per minute in a split without Murray and Michael Porter. So he's essentially matchup proof. So if he can play, I would get exposure to him. If he can't play, I'm a little bit on the fence on what to believe that the game script would be. I guess Jimmy Butler's status would be a big part of it. If Butler was out and Jokic was out, I think this game could be a little bit more neutral. And then Will Barton on FanDuel at 6,400 kind of pops for me. And we've seen Jeff Green and Aaron Gordon kind of alternate strong games. Jeff Green being 4,600 on DraftKings is pretty obtainable. Jermichael Green would probably draw another start. He's very hit or miss and would not be somebody I'm too enamored with him playing against Adebayo. And then Adebayo sub 8K on FanDuel, forward eligible. I would be an investor in that. And then I have to adjust my Tyler Hero minutes. I had him for 31 before the news came out. So if with Hero down, you can take some deeper looks at Gabe Vincent, Max Strus. I think Vincent at 3,800 is at least super intriguing with Hero missing that Bulls game, right? We saw him play 31 minutes against Chicago, 33 fantasy points, 20 real points. So at 3,800, I don't really see why you wouldn't get there just on the happenstance alone that Hero is down. And then if Butler joins the party there, Gabe Vincent looks like a super strong shot at value here. So I definitely would add Gabe Vincent as a potential core value play here. And then, like I said, Kyle Lowry as well, without Butler, would be somebody I heightened, right? Let's get caught up on chat before we move on. Check DMs for something else I want before order groceries. Thank you. All right, well, got you. Smells like a mid-range day, says Nate. You think so? I can get with that. Morris is out, isn't he? Morris? Monte Morris? I don't have Morris. I don't have him out unless that just dropped. I'll double check. Unless there's a different Morris. Oh, Markieff Morris. Yeah. I got him as out. My bad. Mundo's World, how are players with non-COVID illnesses still allowed to play or even be questionable? Mundo's World, I was thinking the same thing with Anthony Davis last week, and they said he had the flu. I was like, even without COVID, why are they allowed to play? You know what I'm saying? What up, Plan? Y'all simps need to give the video a like. I would appreciate that. Allen, Giddy, Beasley, Hayward, Keldon, Porto. I like that. Just stock it. Let's go. Jokic brothers gonna be sniping Haslam. I saw Udonis Haslam tell him it's his city. I think it'll be fine. I think a lot of that stuff blows over. You saw last night Isaiah Stewart and LeBron James. LeBron dropped a 30 piece on him. Isaiah Stewart kept his mouth shut. Hornets at the Chicago Bulls. Projects 35 for the Hornets. LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier, Gordon Hayward, Miles Bridges, and PJ Washington taking on Lonzo Ball, Zach LaVine, Javonte Green, DeMar DeRozan, and Nikola Vucevic. We got a 223 total, 4.5 point spread in favor of the home team, Chicago Bulls. Javonte Green has a Q tag on him, and more notably, so does Zach LaVine. And this could create some very, very interesting usage fluctuations. LaVine is dealing with an illness. He's been listed as questionable. It says no information was given on what the illness is or the severity of it. So we'll have to wait to see what other information becomes available as we get closer to tip-off. That's a blurb from NBC Sports Edge. So if he can't go, I think naturally we would have to assume huge boost of everything to one Lonzo Ball, but also DeMar DeRozan. And you guys know Charlotte Hornets are just the gift that keeps on giving. I love targeting Hornets games. I wasn't alone on the Rockets Hornets stack the other night, Saturday. It was a lot of fun to watch. I think in this scenario, there's not a single bull you could point at and say no to. So if Levine is in, I think we can still get to all these bulls. But if Levine is out, this becomes a very it feels like easy to stack game. Is there any sample size this season on the Bulls without Levine? I would Bulls without Levine with Vucevic. I would assume that isn't the case. So I guess what was probably a little bit more fair to do is just take Levine off and put Lonzo and DeRozan on, just to kind of compensate for the split, because Vucevic missed a pretty decent stretch there. So with Lonzo on, DeRozan on, Levine off the court. What up, Luke? LaMelo balled out on Lonzo last year, and with that ball triple-double as well. Vooch is fired up. You like that? Let's go. Towns and Sabonis been letdowns lately. Yeah. 117 minutes of sample size. We got over 1.2 fantasy points per minute for DeRozan, and Lonzo Ball's over a fantasy point per minute. Doesn't look like we have any Vucevic. We got 25 minutes of Vucevic in this split, 1.2 fantasy points per minute. So, yeah, if Levine does go down, I'm full stacking the Bulls. And I don't care who knows it. I'm loading up on them. So, give me all of the Chicago Bulls here. And then give me some Charlotte Hornets here. Maybe I'll throw this question onto you guys here, right? Sometimes we believe that Vegas knows, right? If we look at defensive rating, the Charlotte Hornets are a bottom 10 defense, while the Chicago Bulls are a top 6 defense, right? And then offensive efficiency, I guess the Hornets are really strong. Yeah, they're top 6 in offensive efficiency. I don't know. I guess the question I was trying to lead to is, do we believe that a full-strength Bulls team is only 4.5-point favorites at home against the Hornets? And if we don't believe it's only 4.5, do we think maybe that's a shot that Levine is closer to out than in? Maybe. So it's just something to think about. On the Hornets side, everyone's in play here. I think it's a little bit of I'm gonna say uncomfortable, but at 10.4K for LaMelo Ball on DraftKings, this is I'm gonna say trouble spot, but it's a matchup that isn't that great. Lonzo's been an elite defender. They tag team with Alex Caruso, and you definitely know that there's a little extra pizzazz to maybe slow down LaMelo here. So I do think at 10.4K, you got to really think strongly about getting to that price point. Everyone else still in play here, and then the Fanduel price points are just glorious all the way through and through. 9,600 for Melo, Terry Rozier, Gordon Hayward. Usually what I'll do with the Hornets here is I'll put the 3 guards in the group and say at most 2 of this group. Usually the overlap that I get less of is Rozier and Hayward, but it's not a 0% outcome. But if I'm chasing pure ceiling points here, I probably don't see a triple ceiling range of outcome landing that often against the Bulls here, right? You see, like if Rozier has a great game, a tournament winning game, then Gordon Hayward or LaMelo Ball, one of those 2 probably doesn't. But I could see 2 coexisting. So that's just what I do. You don't have to tail it. Just an idea, something to think about to play with your correlations. And then we'll give Kelly Oubre a little bit of notice here. He's easily been their 6th man and had a couple of big games lately. 36, 27, 34 minutes his last couple games. 20 plus real points in each of those games. Last game, 5 stocks. The Rockets are a lot less efficient defensively. So are the I almost said Twins. So are the T-Wolves, and so are the Magic. So maybe we really we put some respect on the Chicago Bulls here, and maybe not expect him to satisfy 5.3K super often, but the shot volume is there for him, and maybe the price is a little too low for his shot volume. 13 attempts from behind the arc the last 2 games, again against lesser defenses, but somebody we should at least be cognitive of. And then Mason Plumlee out again, PJ Washington as the sender, somebody that I have projected decently, 30-ish points on both Fanduel and DraftKings going against the Chicago Bulls. The front court has been where fantasy points are accrued more lucratively. if you look at the DVP chart, power forward, center, over 50 fantasy points per game against him. So if you let DVP steer the wheel, Bridges and PJ Washington would be two guys to kind of lean on here. But every Chicago Bulls in the pool here. And then the Hornets. I would say if the Hornets trend a little too highly owned, I might pivot elsewhere just because I do have some respect for the Bulls defense. But the total's nice, and I don't know, the process is the process, right? Pick on the Hornets. Lorenzo says the Hornets, the gift that keeps on giving. Yes, sir. Lorenzo says, give me all Alonzo and Vucevic and give me Melo, Bridges, a little scary Terry. I think Vucevic is the guy that's just like right in front of us. I love playing centers against the Hornets. You guys just saw Christian Wood have a literal career game against the Hornets. So if Levine was out, Levine representing 25 real points per game in a matchup that is up pace and a defense that is really, really porous. Yeah, Vucevic could have 20 plus real points here and get himself one of those 20-10 double-doubles and peripherals to boot. So yeah, I'm all about some Vucevic in that split. If Levine was in, yeah, I'm still gonna get to Vucevic a little less, but I definitely think Vucevic could be one of the better plays on the slate, considering the matchup. If Levine's usage needed to be distributed out there. And then Lonzo Ball sub 7K on Fanduel. Love that too. I think you guys are all in it. You guys know how we ride when the Hornets are on the slate, man. We're loading up against them. Craig says Lonzo hasn't fared well against little brother in a few matchups, I believe. We'll look at that. I don't know that I would be too concerned about that. I think Lonzo's a peripheral getter, right? And going against the Hornets pace, I'd be fine with it. DKP by game log versus LaMelo Ball last 10 games. Phone is blowing up today. Uh, 25-15. 25 came in 30 minutes. That was with New Orleans. 12-3-6. I expect the peripherals to go up a little bit here, just because of the pacing here. Yeah, I wouldn't overthink that, and especially if Levine was out. Now, if Levine was in, I definitely could see Lonzo having just an average game of points per dollar. But if Levine was out, I like him to pick up some of the stress, some of the responsibility. I'm still in chat, but stream for Rose. Oh man, what up, Kickstart? Is Vooch even going to see full run? What do you mean by that? Like, I have him at 33 minutes. You think that he wouldn't play 30 plus minutes? I wouldn't. I mean, I guess it's fair to be scared of the small ball, but he got 30 minutes against Miami, 29. It's not really a reason to believe he's not going to get full run, and if conditioning is the concern. If you're thinking that like he gets pushed off the court, I think you're thinking that the Hornets are winning this game. And that's your game script, but I don't really see a reason that he wouldn't be on the court other than something like a small ball pushes him out of the way or something like that. But even then, like Vucevic's fine. He can play some small ball. Spent 10 racks on a new chain. Let's go. Gucci gang. Vucci gang. Vucci gang. 3 Hornets tonight, brother. Let's go. I'm with that. So who would 3? I guess like literally 1 through 4 are all in play here. I wouldn't set rules for like the front court, but like I said, the 2 or 3 rule exists for me on the Hornet side here. Then I might think about Oubre. Like if Oubre hits ceiling for tournaments, does that cost anybody else? I don't think it really does, but something to think about. Caruso, if Levine is out, Alex Caruso is 5,300. Caruso is a guy that you probably expect to get there a little bit more through the peripherals, but we have seen some pop games for him. I think he would be in the player pool for sure. Reminds me a lot of like the TJ McConnell archetype, you know what I mean? Where a lot of his big games are going to come from steals and whatnot, but this is a positive matchup for that because of the pace. So more possessions, more implied opportunity. So he would be in the pool, but it's not anything I would be overly enamored with prioritizing. But he'd be in the back end of the pool, maybe a tier 3, right? What do you call it? Broke Santa Claus, Saint Nicholas. Let's just soak that one in for a minute. Yeah, that was funny. It's DFS. Don't look at stuff like that. It would sidetrack me up. What up, Jim? Jim Paris in the chat. How you been, brother? Would you play Embiid or Wood? Are you asking me would I play either? The answer is yes. Would I play Embiid or Wood? Like in a 1v1? Probably Christian Wood. Just like putting a penny on it being a little bit more competitive. But I love them both equally. And I think on DraftKings, you'll find me having a decent chunk of overlap. So, yes. Thoughts on Nas Little? I think he'll be fine. I think Tony Snell starting is somewhat of a boost for everybody. Nas Little is a guy that I don't know, I guess if he's running a little bit more with Larry Nance, but I think, having less overlap with both Dame and CJ on the court can't be a bad thing for usage. So I think he's fine without Norman Powell, the 30 plus minutes to distribute, and Little's already getting part of the rotation. Julian Wilson. What's up? Let's move on to the next game. Houston Rockets hosting Oklahoma City Thunder. Project starting 5 for the Thunder. SGA, Josh Giddey, Lou Dort, Darius Baisley, Jeremiah Robinson Earl taking on Kevin Porter Jr., Eric Gordon, Garrison Matthews, Jayshawn Tate, and Christian Wood. We got 216.5 total, 2.5 point spread in favor of the home team, Houston Rockets. Rockets been without Jalen Green. He's going to miss some time. And without him, we saw immediate boost to Eric Gordon. And we've seen Garrison Matthews slot into the starting lineup. Silas has been shaken up this lineup as well. Daniel Tice has been relegated to the bench. So the starters are kind of different than they were a couple weeks ago, and I guess it only makes sense. The Rockets have really been struggling to get some dubs out here, but the price points don't make a lot of sense on either side. I think Kevin Porter Jr. is still really too cheap, and I love the fact that he's small forward eligible. Christian Wood, 7,400 on FanDuel, 8,200 on DraftKings, coming off his best game of his career. Eric Gordon's been just super reliable for them, and then Garrison Matthews is 4,200 on FanDuel, 4K on DraftKings, played a really good role. I think one of the things I would be really cautious with this Rockets game is that we can't expect it to be the same as the Hornets game, right? We can't chase too many of those points because the game scored like 280, 260 points, something like that. It was a shootout. It went to overtime, and the Hornets pace, the Hornets defense, a little bit different than the Thunder. So just as long as we start with that realization that, okay, it's not going to be the same, we can start plucking some names away from it. So for instance, if we go check out the defensive rating metrics in the RunDFS.com team metrics chart, go find Oklahoma City Thunder. OKC is a little bit neutral to league average in terms of defensive efficiency, while Charlotte is bottom 10. And then when it comes to pace, OKC has a neutral pace, while Charlotte is top 3. You know what I'm saying? So that is something to be cognitive of and be cautious of. And then, of course, OKC has just been not a good offense. OKC has been the worst offense in all of basketball, while Charlotte's been top 6. So expect this game to go a little bit differently, but we can still sink our teeth in to at least KPJ and Christian Wood. I think so. Earlier this year, I was tier one Christian Wood and went dang near all in on him against the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think that might have been one of the videos that me and Danny did on the YouTube Shorts, and it got 31 fantasy points, which at 8,200 would pretty much cripple you here. But I'm willing to run it back here. I think after that game and in life without Jalen Green, I almost said Jalen Suggs, I think Christian Wood has earned his keep here, and I think 40 plus fantasy points is what you want. And on top of that, the matchup really doesn't get better from a fantasy point accumulation standpoint than the Thunder. Only the Memphis Grizzlies surrender more fantasy points to the center position. So Christian Wood is definitely somebody that should be a mainstay in our lineups tonight. But I do think the rotation for the Rockets is a little bit more diluted than the field is giving credit for, but I got him right at 40 fantasy points. So I take that all day long, all day strong at 7-4 on FanDuel, power forward eligible, and then DraftKings as well. And Kevin Porter Jr. would be borderline tier 1 for me as well. I love the FanDuel price a lot. The other guys in the middle, Eric Gordon, Garrison Matthews, Jayshawn Tate, I'd be a little bit more responsible with mixing him in there. I think Eric Gordon's probably the second tier of Rockets interest for me, and then Matthews and guys like that would just kind of where they fall. They fall on the Thunder side. If SGA's healthy, I like him to keep the Thunder going. 40 plus fantasy points is what I need from him. I think it's possible. I got that just about his projection when I gave him 34 minutes. Same with Josh Giddey. Same with Lou Dort. The Thunder come in really, really stackable, and the Rockets' defense is pretty poor. So I can get to a decent chunk of Thunder today. I think the game itself still remains stackable. I just wanted to throw some caution in the wind to or not throw caution in the wind. I'm gonna throw some caution out there to maybe not expect the entire Rockets team to be elite plays like they were against the Charlotte Hornets. But yeah, very, very juicy game to target, and I like a lot of the prices. Hey, yo, Brandon Smith, appreciate that sub, buddy. If you guys are out there lurking, you're not subscribed, man, hit that red sub button. At 100 likes on this video, we will be giving away a week pass at rundfs.com. So get you one of those. Get you one of those. What is y'all be tripping me out in chat? Would it make sense to pair Christian Wood with Porter Jr.? Absolutely. I think that's absolutely fine. Maybe even tossing one of the Thunder as a run back. Giddey, Dort, SGA. How has SGA fared in this split this season? I would imagine it's decent in a game that he played. 2 games, averaging 32. Maybe not as decent as I thought it would. He got 46 last time. So one bad, one good. We'll take the good, right? 34 plus minutes is something we could expect from him in a neutral game. So I do like SGA. So maybe SGA versus Porter and Wood in the same lineup at these prices is not impossible, right? It's not like we're needing 2 10K guys. So I definitely think it's easy to get to this game, be smart with our correlation, but also not get overexposed to it at the same time. You know, I have 3 Thunder hitting value essentially. Matter of fact, I got Josh Giddey being a ridiculous value play. I may need to tighten the screws on that, but if I sort my early projections from greatest value to least, Nas Little, Larry Nance, Jakob Poeltl's up there, and then Josh Giddey. Where's Giddey at? Little Giddey up. Control F Giddey. 5.78x value. Yeah, I'll take that. 40 plus. So yeah, I Giddey looks like he could be a really, really good good value play. At least on Fanduel, 41 at 6,200. That's all day long, all day strong. Every time you hate on me, I get stronger and stronger. My girlfriend in Tamron going, what up, Josh Gilham? It's definitely my last night in NBA. Come on, Josh. Josh, who you trying to convince? Me or you? Because it ain't me. Last time I watched you retire from a sport, you turned around and won 20K. Ain't your last night. Get him out of here, chat. He's here. We're all here because we have crippling gambling addictions. We're never leaving. Quinn says, I'm seeing high projected ownership on Kevin Porter Jr., and I'm probably going to fade or be extremely underweight. Christian Wood could be a nice owner leverage play. So what's the pushback on KPJ? Let's do some research here. I think it can't be understated or overstated about Jalen Green being out. And Eric Gordon does give a nice little veteran presence to space the court out even more. Jalen Green, kind of a wild child, right? So let's put Kevin Porter on. Let's just do 2 splits here. Let's look how Kevin Porter would and let's say Jalen Green. Let's just see what's the impact has been with Porter, Wood, Green on the court this season. Fantasy points per minute. Kevin Porter Jr. 0.8. Christian Wood over 1. And Jalen Green 0.79. So we'll take Green off the for sure on, and we'll put him on the for sure off. See if those numbers look any different. Kevin Porter Jr. rises dramatically to 1.15. Now, I do think a lot of this is going to be influenced by the Hornets game, so a little grain of salt there. But if we are a group of people that have to play by the numbers say we should respect the absence of Jalen Green here, because it doesn't mean nothing. And I think KPJ, even at deep ownership, the price is just too nice. And at 6,300 on a FanDuel, I mean, he might set up to be one of my highest owned players, especially for the simple fact that he's small forward eligible. And I love getting that type of value in my small forward spot, because small forward is usually a position that I think is pretty shallow. Maybe today with DeRozan potentially getting an opportunity without Levine, like maybe it's not as shallow, but he's a guy that we can put in multiple positions anyway. I just don't really see any way that I wouldn't be aggressive with Kevin Porter Jr. ownership in my personal lineups, but I at least want to articulate that Jalen Green's absence isn't a non-factor for Kevin Porter's success. I think Dort plays defense on Porter Jr. That's what keeping me off him. I mean, that's fair. Did he not play that last game though? Where Kevin Porter dropped 40 plus. I don't know. I think that's not a bad thought process, right? Like, you can justify it that way, but I don't know. I like Shea, but he's also in the same price realm as Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, a couple others. That's fair. You think Caruso's a good play? I think Caruso's in the player pool. Like I said, typically a guy like Caruso, I need the stocks for him to have a great fantasy day at his price point today. But in this pace against the Hornets, a younger LaMelo Ball is shown to be prone to making mistakes. I don't think it's impossible for Caruso to get those stocks. And then if Zach LaVine is out, 25 plus real points need to be compensated for. So look, maybe Caruso gets a sneaky 10 to 15 points, Juan Murillo says my lineups have SGA, Wood, Matthews, Porter. SGA, Wood, Matthews, Porter. So 3-man Rocket stack. So Garrison Matthews looked really, really good in the minutes that he got as a starter for the Rockets last game. And we saw him flash the upside in some stints with the Wizards. But I do think that maybe he's the flimsiest of all the Rockets, probably because he's the most scoring dependent, right? 20 real points for 28 fantasy points against Charlotte. They went to overtime. And again, this game is not likely to put up 290 points. So if you expect this to be a little bit more normal, maybe 115, 110, even 120. You know what I'm saying? I think Garrison Matthews should be a guy that we at least appreciate that he might be the most scoring dependent of the bunch. Not that he can't go out there and get a bucket, but the scoring dependent guys tend to be the more volatile plays because their floor completely tanks if they have a bad shooting night. So if a Lou Dort ends up on a guy like Matthews here and there, you know what I'm saying? So just something to tier. I would have him as a risky value play today. What else we got here in the chat? What up, Tyrell? You can call him Tyrell. Josh. Excuse me, we are sports analytical enthusiasts. Thank you very much. Yes, sir. Guys, if you're ever out there grinding for new jobs, or if you do DFS full time and you want to, I don't know, convince landlords and or car dealerships or whatever to do business with you, don't use pro gambler as a term. I personally use, I tell them I'm a expert in predictive analytics. Put that on your LinkedIn, all right? Don't use full-time DraftKings player, all right? Expert in predictive analytics. Porter Jr., LaMelo, Dort, PJ Washington, Carter Jr., Giddey, Little, and Poto. I'm with that, Nate. Let's start the giveaway. We're not at 100 likes, are we? No way. We're at 74. Actually, you guys are crushing it on the likes. That's massive. If we get to 100, though, yeah, I'll pop open the giveaway. So if you're out there lurking, you haven't hit that thumbs up yet, man, show me some love. Y'all are crushing it. I can't. I love y'all. Y'all are the best. Subscribe if you're out there lurking. We are trying to get to 6K subs. I don't think I'm going to do it by January 1, but that's the goal. Mongo says, you think LaMelo can get to 60 DKP? I think he can, but I think it's an extremely uphill battle, right? The toughest spot for success from a fantasy standpoint has been guards against the Bulls. So with Lonzo being as good as he is on defense and then being able to tag out to Alex Caruso, it is a tough spot. But LaMelo is one of those peripheral getters, so it's not unlike Garrison Matthews, right? He doesn't need 20-plus real points, right? And then again, he might at that price. My favorite DFS couple. Let's go. Let's go. Thinking Kobe White if Levine is out. That's actually a good thought there, Jenna. Kobe White is kind of a wild card because he's recently come back to the team. You guys remember him from years past. The really good 3-point shooter. Has worked his way up to 24 minutes. Already flashed a 30 bomb, so maybe kind of like maybe a little less than Garrison Matthews. Some peripherals are there. Yeah, I like that call, actually. I think you might even see him start with Caruso off the bench or vice versa, but either way, I think his 20 minutes could get closer to 30 minutes in the absence of Levine. So that's a huge call, Jenna. Good call. Leighton, T-Dot Baller repping the 416. Let's go, T-Dot. Y'all don't know about Tadashi, though, do you? Chat, who knows about Tadashi? Nobody? Nobody, right? Come on. Daily sports analyst. I mean, that's cool, too, right? I appreciate you, too. No, you guys are the best. ABG, predictive analytics experience in highly competitive environment. Let's go. Let's go. I hope they interview LeVar. Let's move on to the next game here. T-Wolves hosting the Indiana Pacers. Project starting 5 for the Pacers. Malcolm Brogdon, Karis LeVert, Justin Holiday, Domantas Sabonis, and Miles Turner taking on D'Angelo Russell. Crossing over with Anthony Edwards, Taron Prince, Jared Vanderbilt, and Karl Anthony Towns, the big cat, Ernie Ladd. We got 217.5 total. The home team, Minnesota Timberwolves, favored by 1.5. Uh-oh, what the hook gonna be? Minnesota has a lot of news to watch. And I guess I saw Turner was questionable too, right? Is that what Underdog reported? So we'll start with the Minnesota side, and then I'll try and get us caught up on what's going on with Miles Turner. Vanderbilt, I think Vanderbilt had I don't know. Let me see what they had here. They had Vanderbilt questionable. And they had Miles Turner questionable. I'll refresh my depth chart here. Usually NBC Sports has a nice little blurb on all the Q tags, but I don't see one on these two. Whichever ball brother loses is going to have to hear it from their daddy. They should both ball out. Just LiAngelo Ball standing behind LeVar, tugging his shirt. Dad, LaMelo didn't get a triple-double. Boy, ain't you supposed to be in Australia right now? What am I looking for? Okay, Indiana. Here we go. Miles Turner, Q tag on him, dealing with non-COVID illness, has been listed as questionable. If he can't go, that would be a huge blow for Indiana. If he can't play, expect Goga Batadze to start at center. Bro, whoever wrote this blurb they were struggling. Let me put that on the big screen real quick. Non-COVID illness has been says if Turner pop it back open. Turner can't go. That would be a huge blow for Indiana. If he can't play, expect Goga Batadze to stat at center. My man wrote it on his iPhone and got auto-corrected. Anyway, if Turner can't go, we probably just expect a couple more shots to maybe be divvied up, and maybe we believe in Domantas Sabonis a little bit more going against the Minnesota Timberwolves front court. And then, of course, we talked about guys like Vanderbilt and McDaniels being questionable. And if those two don't play, Taron Prince, Josh Okogie, guys like that. Maybe Nasri gets a couple extra minutes, and then we maybe lean on the T-Wolves. So the T-Wolves kind of like the Charlotte Hornets. I tend to think that it's a less likely scenario to have the big three have ceiling outcomes. And I say that, and yesterday the Lakers kind of did the same. All the big three from the Lakers dropped 50 apiece. But I guess I would ask you guys, like, how often do you get 50 plus fantasy points apiece from D. Russ, Anthony Edwards, and Cat? If you think it's a little less likely for that to happen, and maybe a little bit more likely for 2 of 3 to hit, which is kind of how I play, then I would put those 3 in a group and maybe say, no more than or at most 2 of these 3, right? So that's how I would accomplish that. 217.5 total. If Turner does play, it's an okay spot for him. If he doesn't play, maybe Malcolm Brogdon picks up some responsibility. And I think if you look at what Turner does represent, he represents some blocks, 7 rebounds, double-digit real points. Sabonis maybe picks up a few of those. I think at 8.3, 8.4K, Sabonis is going to just kind of get forgotten about, maybe lost in the sauce because of guys like Christian Wood, Jakob Poeltl, guys like that. And maybe Sabonis, has one of those big 40-plus fantasy point games. We saw 48 against Toronto 2 games ago. Milwaukee game got lopsided quick, fast, in a hurry. But prior to that blowout, it was 40-plus. And this isn't 10K Sabonis, right? $8,400 on Sabonis. 40-plus is kind of the benchmark for me at that price range. Miles Turner out could only be a plus for him. So Domantas Sabonis absolutely be introduced to the player pool for me. And then Karis LeVert's been working on kind of a minutes limit here. I'm waiting for that to kind of get lifted. I don't know if it's going to be a soft, silent lift, but at 5'6", 5'3", you absolutely know his 25% usage while he's on the court can pop back 30-plus fantasy points on any given Sunday. And then Malcolm Brogdon, I'm looking for 40-plus out of him. My projections did spit back 40-plus for both Fanduel and DraftKings. So guys will be in a player pool for sure, depending on how many lineups you get. Out there, 20 lineups or less, I could see a little bit more resistance here, but I definitely think if I got to 50 lineups, I would have some exposure to several Pacers here, and then the T-Wolves as well. Taurean Prince, kind of a defensive first kind of guy. We saw him have a couple of strong games in Brooklyn and Atlanta. He's $200 above the min price on DraftKings. No warm and fuzzies here, but if the minutes shake out the right way, maybe not him, but somebody, I think other than the big 3 here should benefit here. Maybe it is Malik Beasley, 4,300 on FanDuel, 44 on DK, the benefits for 20+. But no warm and fuzzies on any of the fringe value plays here. Best case scenario for me from a headache standpoint is that Vanderbilt can go, McDaniels can go, and then I can just lean on the big 3 on a bigger slate, right? Let's get caught up on the on the chat before we move on. How about Kimball Walker getting kicked out of the rotation? I'm more impressed that they made the right decision. Like, I don't think Kimball Walker's style of play complements the strengths of the Knicks, and I think that was something they should have had enough foresight to know, right? The Knicks succeeded last year by just Point Randall playing 40 minutes and everything flowed through him, and then you bring in a guy like Kimball Walker who's been more ball dominant when he was successful, and even then we don't really have a large sample size of Kimball Walker being an impact player in a successful team. What I mean by that is, like, yeah, you could be the best player in Charlotte for the last 10 years, but what does that mean? I don't know, but a lot of teams just get kind of stubborn with the contract that they're on, and they just say, well, we're paying them, we got to play them. So I mean, shout out to the Knicks for making a business decision here. If I was a Knicks fan, I would kind of appreciate that they did that, and I do think Alec Burks and Derrick Rose and Emmanuel Quickley getting more run is more positive for that team and what they're trying to do. So yeah, sucks for Kemba. Hopefully he lands on his feet if it ends up being not with New York, but I don't know, sometimes the fit ain't right. Cavs at the Mavs. Next game on the docket, project starting 5 for the Cavs: Darius Garland, Isaac Okoro, Larry Markin, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen. Taking on Luka Doncic, Tim Hardaway Jr., Dorian Finney-Smith, Kristaps Porzingis, and Dwight Powell. We got a 210 total, 6.5 point spread in favor of the Dallas Mavericks. Darius Garland has moved his way to the north side of 7K. He's earned it. Life without Colin Sexton. You need 40-plus fantasy points. I feel like you're getting a good deal. The Mavs are a pretty I want to say kind of like a funnel defense where a lot of the fantasy upsides coming against their front court. Matter of fact, if you look at this team DVP versus position color chart, you see only the center is getting any type of redness in the chart here. So big spot for a guy like Jared Allen, maybe Evan Mobley. And I like. My knee-jerk reaction is to want to like Darius Garland or Ricky Rubio, but I think I'm going to trust the charts here and use that price range for other point guards on the slate. We already talked about Kevin Porter. We'll talk about some other 6 to 7K point guards, maybe even Lonzo in that price range as well. So I might be down on the Cavs outside of a couple shots on the front court. Jared Allen, 7.7K on Fanduel, 7.5K on DraftKings. If you look at the Dallas Mavericks, if we're gonna pull up their team metrics chart, kind of figure out why it is that centers are doing the best against them. First of all, they are bottom 10 in terms of points in the paint allowed. Not what you want. And then we saw that their offensive rebound rate was pretty low, right? Just a 20.9% offensive rebound rate. So they also score very little points in the paint, 39 points in the paint, meaning they shoot a lot of jumpers, a lot of threes. And if you're going to do that, some more opportunities for rebounds for opposing bigs. And a guy like Jared Allen's elite rebounder, so double-digit rebounds coming his way, is going to happen more often than not. Mobley did return to this lineup. They are looking a little bit more healthy. If Jetty Osman, Dean Wade can't go, maybe beef up some opportunity for guys like Larry Markin and Okoro, stuff like that. But I think Jared Allen's probably my favorite guy from the Cavs here, and then I'd probably move along. And I didn't even think I would high tier Jared Allen or make any of these guys a priority. On the Mavs side, Luka Doncic is always in play. If Jalen Brunson can't go, Luka Doncic is one of those guys that will have one of the highest raw point projections on the slate. So I would end up with a decent chunk, but it looks like Brunson has been upgraded to probable. I don't know. I see a P next to his name, which indicates probable. But when I click on the blurb, it still says questionable. So let's see if we can use a couple different sources here. We'll look at DraftKings. Did you guys see anything, chat, on Jalen Brunson? Because Sports Edge has a P next to his name. Okay. It says that came out. Says Jalen Brunson's listed as probable for Monday's game. All right, so if Brunson's in, then it's a little less stress on Luka to play 40 minutes, even though I still have 38 minutes on him. But the raw points are still there for Luka. This will be a really paced down spot. 210 is the total. If we look at that team metrics chart and sort the league from slowest pace to the highest pace, Dallas is bottom 5 and Cleveland's bottom 10. So yeah, it's gonna be a pace down spot. So I don't want to get too greedy with my hand in the cookie jar on this one, but Luka would stand out and Porzingis would stand out as two guys that I would get some exposure to. I probably don't land on Jalen Brunson here at this price point. I'm looking for 40 plus. So just give me Luka and Porzingis and I'll walk away. That's right, walk away. Let's get caught up on chat. Des says, I'm still sticking to my never play Kuzma again. I'm with that. Jim says, my line is, I think you mean Brogdon, right? You got auto-corrected. Brogdon, Dort, Little, Jermichael Green, Wood, Porter, Carter, and Sabonis. Jermichael Green? Okay, so, I mean, first of all, you want to make sure Jokic is out, but also, like, appreciate that Adebayo is not a good spot. Right, so maybe revisit that. Maybe some more value will open up. Jermichael Green just doesn't give me the warm and fuzzies. It's not even that great when he's in a good matchup, right? Where are we at on likes, chat? We're at 88. 12 more likes, so I'll give away a week pass at rundfs.com. And all you got to do is be a sub to the channel and type the keyword in chat. And if we actually knock out that like goal pretty soon, I can open it up for more than 5 minutes, right? We can have that up for 15 minutes. You guys can tell a friend to tell a friend and tell a friend to tell some mo. Anker says Kemba isn't that good. People were going nuts when they got him in Fournier. I think Fournier is fine. Fournier can be a role player with a good shot. Kemba is he's just not for that offense. And I think it's okay to not fit in every offense. And I think, like, I don't know. I think I don't want to hate on Kemba, right? I just don't think that's the right fit. And That's not a bad thing. What up, Anthony? Do you think the Hornets' small lineup will run Vucevic off the court tonight? I think that only happens if the Hornets are winning, right? I think if the Bulls are up 8 for on average, then and Levine is out, then I don't think they would run him off. Is it possible? Yeah, but I don't know. I don't think Vucevic is like, he's not super traditional, right? He's not. He could chuck threes, you know what I'm saying? 4 or 5. He'll shoot threes. So he's not like a super traditional big. He can stretch out if he got to. And then they definitely are short on size in that Bulls front court. I mean, who are you going to put out there instead? Tony Bradley, DeRozan play the 5, maybe. But I wouldn't overthink that aspect of it, especially if Levine was out. I don't know how you could justify, if Levine was out, to not have Vuce out there with DeRozan trying to compensate for some points. So Josh Hennig says Prince started ahead of McDaniels last game, so I assume he could play 35 plus minutes if those guys are out. I agree with that. EB says, Yo, Gun, do you create your own DVP chart? No, I just outsource it. Luca in play on Fanduel. On DK, he needs a big triple-double to wind up in the winning tournament lineup. Probably Quinn. I will say that the bigger the slate, the more potential value options there are. So you can still prioritize raw points, right? So I still think, a guy like Luka should probably lead the entire slate in fantasy points. But even if he was, top 3 and it was a margin of 5 to 6 fantasy points, there's still some outs for him. So yeah. And usually if he's going to be a top scorer on the slate, he's going to need a triple-double. But I'm not going to rule him out. But he's probably not high on my list. I'll talk about somebody in a minute that is really high on my list, surprisingly high. Brunson upgraded, probably appreciate that. If no Bombo or no Jokic, who do you like better, Carter Jr. or Aaron Gordon? Probably Carter Jr. Aaron Gordon's pretty hit or miss, but Gordon has had some 30 plus fantasy point games without Jokic. But like I said, Bam Adebayo is not a matchup that I love, even though Gordon would probably be more so like PJ Tucker. Well, I'm probably leaning Wendell Carter Jr., but it's probably not even giving up a ton of fantasy points either way. But I do think Wendell Carter would at least have the higher floor, and the ceiling is probably the same, right? Luke says Vooch played point for the Magic at times. Yeah, I think Vooch is fine. I don't think he's getting run off. What up, Valdo? Says, what's good, Gun? Hope you had a good Thanksgiving. You too, brother. I missed the front end of the show. Who are the top 3 favorite plays of the day, including value plays? I am still knee deep in talking it through. But value plays, I think we've talked about. I kind of like that Kobe White call from earlier. If Levine is out, like any slate, you just got to monitor the who ends up not playing. And if I think the 2 big news pieces to watch is Levine. If Levine is out, Kobe White's really cheap. And if Jimmy Butler's out, with Tyler Hero already out, Gabe Vincent is really, really cheap. So those are 2 guys that could really unlock a lot of big price guys, Lonzo Ball or Kyle Lowry of Fanduel point guard. Right now it would be Lonzo. If Jimmy Butler got rolled out, I think we start thinking a little bit more about Lowry, but right now it's Lonzo. What up, Dre? Just got on. How do you like Hernan Gomez of the Pelicans? So Hernan Gomez has benefited from extended run in like some blowout time, but per minute for years now we've known he can be a beast. So if you think they struggle against the Clippers and Hernan Gomez gets to 20 minutes, definitely a guy that can get you 20 plus fantasy points. And we've seen 30 in 3 of his last 4. But the common denominator is like 20-point spreads, right? I guess the 98-97 was a lot closer, but he really got there in 19 minutes. So that's just like that's uber efficient, but he's a beast. I mean, he's one of those fantasy guys that you just wonder why he's not getting more run. But I would feel a little bit better about playing him if if Valanciunas was down, or 2, if I expected it to kind of be a laugher. But for the most part, we're expecting some historically unsustainable efficiency in limited minutes, right? What up, Squeak Diesel? Hey, Gun, enjoying your shows. I mean, I appreciate that with Osmo and Emac. Man, my boy Emac, he just might be my daddy. That sounded so bad. I meant as in we have the same sense of humor. Holy. Roscoe says Wood or Vooch. Right now I'm thinking Wood, but I think they're both fine. Vucevic would get a massive boost for me if Levine was down. Are you going to play Lonzo and LaMelo together? That'd probably be something I leave up to the optimizer, right? I'll carve out my player pool, set my exposures and stuff like that. Let the opto, adhere to the rules and the parameters that I set. I don't necessarily think I need to get them both in the same lineup, but I think they'll both be in the player pool. So if they get there, they get there. But it's not something that I'm going out of my way to make happen. Yeah, pause. That's a pause, chat. We're at 100 likes. Let's go. You guys crushed it. So let me tell you what. Before I start talking about this next game, let's get a week pass giveaway going. And this time it can soak. I'll try to get you guys out of here in 25 minutes. You think we can do that? Because I think Osmo starts up at 3:45 today. So we'll do complete. And we'll do a timer on this one. So if I'm going to get out of here in 25 minutes, maybe we'll do a 15-minute giveaway. Edit. So we'll do 15 minutes. So you guys know the drill. It's going to ask you to exclamation point raffle in the chat. I don't know how many likes we are at, but I'll tell you what. If we get to like 120, I'll give away 2. How about that? So we'll do save. And we will start that one. And you guys know the drill. So if you guys are out there, hit exclamation point raffle in the chat. And then we're at 104. So if we get 120 likes on this video, I'll get 2 week passes given away. Give it away now. And while we do that, let's talk about what you might be winning. And that's a week pass membership at rundfs.com, which you can get for 20% off right now anyway using promo code CYBER. And that promo code is good today only for any membership on the site at any price range. And not only do you get access to the rundfs.com VIP spreadsheets, you get access to the Discord. I do the pre-lock voice chats in there, chopping up the slate, hanging out with the boys, making our lineup, stuff like that. And you'll also get a voucher towards Fantasy Cruncher if you sign up through rundfs.com. Link your account to your Cruncher account, and you get a voucher based on the sub that you partake in. And then, of course, the rundfs.com VIP Discord. Looking at something like this, we got those underdog alerts going straight into the chat. Ken Birch just got ruled out, so check that out. And then right here, the NBA chat, we'll be in that in just a little bit, right? And while we do that, let's go check out the next game, which is the San Antonio Spurs hosting the Washington Wizards. Project starting 5 for the Wizards: Spencer Dinwiddie, Bradley Beal, Kentavious Caldwell Pope, Kyle Kuzma, Daniel Gafford taking on DeJounte Murray, Derek White, Keita Bates, Diop, Keldon Johnson, and Jakob Poeltl. Am I not Poeltl enough for the Poeltl Club? 215s are total, 3.5 point spread in favor of the visiting Washington Wizards. Chat, something crazy happened when I did minute projections earlier. I think I'm going to fix it, but on my first projection run, DeJounte Murray came back at 60 fantasy points on Fanduel. I have to tighten the screws dramatically. I think it'll come back down to 50 once I fix something. But he's done 60 plus in several of his games lately. So I don't necessarily disagree with the algorithm. But if you agree with the algorithm, and sometimes it surprises even little old me, DeJounte Murray spit back the highest fantasy point projection on the slate, according to my algorithm, on both FanDuel and DraftKings. And why that's notable is, well, he's not the most expensive player on the slate. He comes in at, you got to scroll down to get to him a little bit, right? DeJounte Murray, 9,600. So, just saying. DeJounte Murray, maybe the price is catching up, but he's been so doggone good. Stuffs the stat sheet, The peripherals are just incredible for him. One of my favorite DFS players all year. And every slate, I keep getting him at like some 10% ownership. People just, they're not used to paying 10K for him. And he's out there putting up 10K price point results. So something to think about. Derek White, sub 6K on both sites. I'm looking for 30 plus fantasy points. Projection likes that for both. Keldon Johnson, Jakob Poeltl also spitting back 30 plus to 40 fantasy points. The Spurs stack is really, really strong for me. I think a couple of you guys started the stream today being a little bit nervous about how well the Spurs are projecting. I think that's a fair way to fill because the Wizards have been a strong defense. But the minutes, we can at least point the minutes and usage pretty confidently on the Spurs. Devin Vassell down, Doug McDermott out. I think the best way to approach the Spurs is probably to throttle it, govern it a little bit, set some decent ownership expectations. Don't necessarily get caught up in leveraging the field if you feel like the field is overowned in certain spots. Put a percentage on how often you think X is the best play on the slate or an optimal play on the slate, and then just live off of that. And if you feel like you are, I don't know, if you feel nervous that the field has too much leverage on that decision, then hey, it's a big slate. Try to skin the cat somewhere else and vibe out that way. So I don't know. Some of you guys were just like really nervous about maybe Derek White earlier this stream about him projecting way higher owned. Well, if you think 35 fantasy points is about what you would expect from him today, I think that makes him a solid play. But if you think, 30 to 28, kind of like Rozier, like the 28 can happen as well, and you think 30-40% of the field is going to maybe neutralize themselves by, giving him a glass ceiling on that, then maybe you go elsewhere. So just kind of some advice to how I would play that. I'm gonna trust the projection here, but I think I'll set probably up to 30% White. Jakob Poeltl is the guy that I'm most intrigued with. I still think this is a 7K player. He literally was a 7K player before going down for a little bit, right? We saw him at 7.2, 7K. So I just don't think he's priced appropriately. And if it's going to be a competitive game, Poeltl's going to be out there contributing, probably going to get to a double-double most days. So I don't know. I think Poeltl's just too cheap. Not necessarily saying I love the matchup or the team that they're going against. I just think overall we're getting some opportunity at these price points. So I do like the Spurs. We're gonna run it back here. Who are we gonna do it with? Well, Dinwiddie's starting to get a little bit more obtainable at the 6K price range. Bradley Beal's 87 on Fanduel, 92 on DraftKings. We haven't seen him really pop that price point consistently this year, and I probably would only get to him if a Dinwiddie was out, and that's only happened on back-to-back so far. Maybe Kyle Kuzma's 6,400, got a little bit of meat on the bone here, but for the most part, I don't have any warm and fuzzy specifically on any one particular player or price point on the Wizards, so it may just be a Spurs side of the basketball for me. And if you guys got any tells or leans on the Wizards, let me know, but I'm really just leaning towards the Spurs here. But like I said, I don't know how often four Spurs is optimal. I say that to say this. If we go pull up the DK chart from the other night, it's in DFS, it's easy to say that I don't want this guy or I don't want this game because it has such a low total or what have you. Well, I think the other night the Spurs scored like 96 points and like all the starters got there. So let me see if I can pull it up and give you an aesthetic. Maybe that was that Friday where it happened? I remember making that observation. San Antonio. Against Boston, right? 96 real points. And their starters put up 59, 44, 41, 29. Like, how often does that happen? You know what I'm saying? But the minutes were so deep. Now, in that game, I know we had a couple outs. But that's why I'm not that skittish on the projection right now. Right? To see 4 Spurs project positively. But even though 4 project positively, I probably won't allow more than 3 to fall into a lineup. Just to be a little bit more realistic, right? And even then, that might be a stretch. It might be mostly 2 and then a couple lineups that hit 3. So something to think about. Let me get caught up on chat for we matriculate on to the next one, man. You guys are crushing it. A lot of raffles. So if you did have something that got lost in the raffles, don't be shy to repost it. I won't be upset, right? How do you like Murray from San Antonio? So Jim, I'm assuming I answered your question already, but DeJounte Murray has a case right now to be one of my more sought after upside guys, because right now my projections like him to be the top scorer on the slate, and I don't know, I'm gonna tighten that up after I get off the air just to see if I can't get that projection down a little bit. But he's projecting extremely well, and he's been doing it too, right? Especially, I don't know, for FanDuel, DeJounte Murray, FTP by game log. Let's go last 10 games on that. Fire Shogun, it is. What up, Patrick Reed? What up, Mike B? Shadow Dog. Look at the lurkers coming out the raffle. I appreciate you guys. 7, you guys are the best. Murray on FanDuel was 60, or DK on FanDuel, but like it's not. I don't want to say it's hard to project anyone for 60, but at the same time, it's not like an anomaly, like an anomalaic projection, right? He's gotten you 58 or more FanDuel points in 4 of his last 6. So like he's out there stuffing the stat sheet. Like we got old Westbrook numbers, right? Even at 3rd highest projected points, he's underpriced. I agree with that, ABG. So he's just like really, really cheap. What up, William McGuire? How you doing? I'm locking Murray till he lets me down, gun. I'm with that, Brandon. Doncic. The Spurs appear to be underpriced on both sides. I'm taking advantage of that. I'm with that. No Melo and Lonzo Ball tonight. Stay away from. Okay, buddy. Oh man, you guys are crushing it with the raffles. Hey. Shout out to Melvin Mayo for the sub, man. That's love. I appreciate you finding the stream and subscribing. We have got 2 games left on the docket. I think we should take a pause for the cause and do a shout out to one of our best partners, PrizePicks.com. If you guys are looking for a way to lasso this slate and be able to feel like you have control over what you can control, meaning somebody gets scratched 10 minutes before lock or in the middle of the slate and you can't do a whole lot because you're out with the family, you're doing your Christmas shopping, whatever. Try PrizePicks, man. PrizePicks.com is really one of the more fun ways to play DFS. It's kind of a perfect cross between sports betting, prop betting, and fantasy sports. I've seen a lot of fantasy sites come and go. I've seen a lot of fantasy sites fight for the longest to kind of stay relevant, be relevant. And I really can't remember the last time a site showed up and had as much steam from the community as PrizePicks. So I would say if you're not on PrizePicks yet, man, you owe it to yourself to at least try it out. It is a great way to simplify your daily DFS process. Bet against projections. You're already doing the research. So why not maybe isolate the research a little bit more to where you can really get some money off your 1v1s and not have to absorb in it the risk of the full field variance to face the 150 lineups. It's you versus the house. And the beautiful thing about PrizePicks is that you could bet every sport on the same card. So essentially you have to predict the over-under on at least 2 projections, up to 5. You can 10x your money. You can flex play it. There's a lot of fun ways to do it. Be responsible. Try the flex plays. But you can bet against isolated stats like real points, rebounds, assists, 3-pointers made, free throws made, or my favorite way to bet is to target the fantasy points. So to show you guys what I mean by that, today, right now on their NBA fantasy point card, they got Joel Embiid projected for 43 PrizePicks points. Well, the PrizePicks scoring mirrors that of FanDuel, which is the official NBA scoring. So I have a companion tab in my spreadsheet that you guys can get access to by winning this week pass. Holy cow, it all ties together. And if we look at Joel Embiid, I am at 48.7 fantasy points. PrizePicks has him at 43, so there's about a 5-point cushion there for me. Wendell Carter Jr. is at 30 on PrizePicks. And if I look at my card, I do think with Mo Bamba being questionable. It could even go up. I have him at 35, so not a massive gap there. How about DeJounte Murray? We just talked about DeJounte Murray. I have him at 61. I do think that might go down a little bit when I adjust it, but they have DeJounte Murray, Control F DeJounte. They have him at 43, chat. 43 FanDuel points? I mean, is that not... I mean, come on. 43 is just that's a little soft for me. So I like to hunt out my biggest discrepancies between my projections and their projections. And like I said, it's not just fantasy points. You can do individual stats, and you can do every different sport. Tonight there's Monday Night Football. They're gonna have some football on there, so you can put DeJounte Murray, pair him with Russell Wilson, 18 FanDuel points. You know what I'm saying? Have a little fun and simplify your process. You're already doing the research, so why not? You guys know the drill. If you sign up using code GUNDACKER, they're going to match your first deposit up to $100, double the money. So even if you just want to try a $20 bill over there, make it $40. And everyone who signs up using my code, they show me a little bit of love once a month. So it's a good way to support the stream without opening up your wallet to me. And it's also a good way to add to your wallet by going out there and making some cash on the PrizePicks cards, man. So every day in the Discord for the first hour, usually I hear the boys hunting out props and stuff like that. If you guys, like I said, have access to the spreadsheet, just check out the player props tab. I specifically have projections for everything that PrizePicks allows you to hit the over-under on. And then, let me know what you do. Everyone shares the tickets and everyone makes some money. Go check that out. Getting caught up on chat. Did we get to 120? Remember I said if we get 120 likes, we'll do 2 week pass giveaways at the end of the countdown. We are at 115, so we might get to 120. You guys are crushing it. Crushing it. Fish fan said if you would like, and since you got 100 likes, I will donate a week pass if you want to give more than one. Well, I had already intended to give 2, but Fish fan coming out there with the fire. The Spurs appear to be underpriced on both sides. I'm with that. All right, let me get caught up. What up, Sanjay? Great show, boss. First time I'm on. Questions. PJ Washington price too low on FanDuel, or is that a fluke last game? I think it's is yes an appropriate answer to both. So I think PJ Washington is benefiting from one, playing at the center spot. Last year, his best fantasy points game came as a center. And 2, there's no Mason Plumlee, so he's going to have to play more center here. I was worried about his conditioning or how many minutes he might get. I put him at 28 minutes. I think the more susceptible spots to score against the Chicago Bulls are going to be at the center spot. I don't expect him to be as bad defensively as the Rockets are, and I don't expect this game to score as much as the Rockets game did, and overtime was just a benefit. But I don't think PJ Washington's off limits here. I think 30 minutes is probably a reasonable expectations for his minutes. I think if you think a point per minute is viable, yeah, I get there for him. I do think as long as Mason Plumlee's out and Washington's under 6K, that he should be somebody we consider. Don't have to lock him, don't have to high tier him, nothing like that. But I think right now the stars are aligned for him to still benefit for fantasy sakes, right? I appreciate you stopping by. Anybody out there lurking, man? It's all love here. Hit that sub button, man. Jump in chat. We got no egos. I don't care which y'all are out there playing. We got millionaires in the community. We got thousandaires. We got people balling on a budget, grinding those quarter arcades, bro. It's all love. Don't forget Russell Wilson's birthday today. Let's go. It's funny, Fish fans in chat, because I need to fade like 3 or 4 fantasy points from Tyler Lockett tonight to beat him in one of the season-long leagues. I don't know if I'm gonna do that. But if Tyler Lockett's out there, you want to go ahead and take the night off. I won't say no to you. Is the raffle still going? Is it off? Let's see. We have 5 minutes left out there, so exclamation point raffle in the chat if you guys haven't put your ticket in yet. Let's talk about the last 2 games here. Blazers at the Utah Jazz. Project starting 5 for the Blazers. Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, Tony Snell, Robert Covington, and Yusuf Nurkic. taking on Mike Conley, Donovan Mitchell, Bojan Bogdanovic, Royce O'Neal, Rudy Gobert. 223 is our total. 7.5 point spread in favor of the home team, Utah Jazz. Jazz, one of the toughest home teams in all of basketball. Catching a Blazers team that looks like Lillard's starting to turn it around here. His three-point shooting is getting a little bit better than last week. But he's also had some more formidable matchups, and he's also been able to stay on the West Coast, right? He had an immediate East Coast trip earlier in the season. Norman Powell is out this season. In the absence of Norman Powell, we've seen a guy like Nasir Little benefit. And that might be more of the same today, although they did say Tony Snell would start this game. Tony Snell, historically a non-impact player, no usage, just a guy getting some cardio in. Maybe he'll chuck an errant three here and there, but even at min price on both sites, I don't think you find me playing some Tony Snell here today. So where do I get to? Well, Robert Covington's pretty cheap on DraftKings, 3,800. That's really cheap for Robert Covington. I'm not saying he's a... You know what I'm saying? He's not like a high usage guy, but 3,800 is a guy that's out here going to get some minutes. And in 30 minutes, how often is Rocco not getting you 20 fantasy points? So I don't know what happened here, but Rocco does feel kind of cheap. But against the Utah Jazz front court, like, I understand that there's not a big upside spot. So is what it is. Lillard has some Utah ties historically, so 8,600 bucks on FanDuel. I'm with that. What was it? Was it Lillard went to college in Utah? Is that what it is? Chat, help me out. So he's not a stranger to the danger in Utah. And then McCollum at 7.4, 7.6K. Those guys will be in the mix here. 7.5 point spread. You know, I like to think of a lot of Utah games as uphill battles, potential blowouts. We saw a team like the Pelicans surprise them in night one of their back-to-back. So it's not impossible for the Blazers to thrive here at these price points. So I'll be in on that. Nurkic, I don't have a big infatuation with getting to Nurkic against Rudy Gobert. Gobert's a tougher matchup, and Nurkic's minutes has been very, very wishy-washy. But if you believe in them needing his size a little bit, sure, go for it. But I don't think I get to any Nurkic. I'd rather just play Jakob Poeltl for a little bit cheaper. Anthony Simons, I think, would benefit here in the absence of Norman Powell. I think big minutes for him. He's also a guy that maybe would benefit if the game got out of hand. He could mop up the fourth quarter. So yeah, he'll be in a player pool for me. On the Jazz side, Rudy Gobert, 9K-ish on FanDuel, 8,500 on DraftKings. I need 40-plus fantasy points. Very reasonable range of outcome for him. Royce O'Neal is questionable. If O'Neal can't go, not really sure who super benefits in that scenario. I think he was out last game, so we'll see who started that last game for the Jazz. It was Joe Ingles. Joe Ingles started, so they just... Okay, so that's all it was. Joe Ingles started, and it was next man up. So if Joe Ingles started here, maybe Jordan Clarkson gets more concentrated usage off the bench, a little less overlap, but no warm and fuzzies all the way around. I think Conley around 6K. I'm looking for 30 plus. Donovan Mitchell can easily get there at 8K on both sites. If you think it's more competitive than not, I think Donovan Mitchell feels like one of the more high floor, high ceiling plays for me here. So he would be somebody at target. But at that price range, we do got SGA. So maybe this becomes a pivot point halfway through the night for you guys. You guys have any strong leans on this game? I don't really have a must play from this one, but I do feel like I want some action from these later games. And there's an hour and a half gap between this Jazz game and this Clippers game, right? Lillard went to Weber State. Okay. Even if Levine plays, do you think Vucevic plays more minutes? He's been in the high 20s last few games. Yeah, I think Vucevic is 25 to 30 minutes. I think the only pushback was people thought maybe the small ball would get him out of there, but I think he's fine. I think he's part of their big three, right? That's the game plan. Fish fan says, how's the thumbnail curse been this year? It hasn't been that great. I mean, it hasn't been killing people. Shout out to Leighton. Looks like he just got a week pass using promo code CYBER for the 20% off, man. I appreciate that. Brandon Patrick says, are you on Uber? No. How long does it take for the driver's license to get verified on any site? I don't think it's that long. It should be pretty quick. I don't know if you're talking about PrizePicks. I feel like you don't have to verify until after you cash out. But, yeah. Playing Tony Snell is like that season Chris Davis was $1 on FanDuel. Oof. All right, last game on the docket. Los Angeles Clippers hosting the New Orleans Pelicans. We have less than 40 seconds on the timer. We'll give away that week pass. I'll get you guys on your way. Devontae Graham, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, Herbert Jones, Jonas Valanciunas taking on Reggie Jackson, Eric Bledsoe, Paul George, Marcus Morris, and Ivica Zubac. 210.5 is our total. 7-point spread in favor of the LA Clippers. Project starting, or 210.5 is our total. 7-point spread in favor of the Clippers here. Paul George is 9,200 on Fanduel, 10.2K on DraftKings. If I just look at my median projections all the way through and through, nothing is popping here. Even the front court for the Pelicans here, nothing's really standing out here. We did discuss briefly Guillermo Hernan-Gomez, Willie Hernan-Gomez earlier. If you think the minutes can land near 20, he has been super fit. Corey Seager to the Rangers. That one hurts. 10-year, $325 million deal. Oh, I guess the Yankees are out on. Please God, no Correa. Please God, no Correa. I guess Reggie Jackson would be a guy that stands out the most here. Point guards against the Pelicans have been kind of the spot that bleeds the most, point guard center. So Reggie Jackson is 6,300, 6,100, 30-plus fantasy points, well within the range of outcomes there. A little bit of revenge on Eric Bledsoe. I think 30-plus is there for him. So if I'm just looking for a couple of errant throws at late-night hammers, those might be the guys. Marcus Morris is back in the mix for the Clippers. So even though Nick Batum is out, they also were able to call up Serge Ibaka from the G League. So he's in the mix as well. So I don't really have a high level of confidence on really anyone in this game, but I might just sprinkle in a couple of shares of like Reggie Jackson and maybe Josh Hart, just peripherals way to a little bit of value here. But nobody in this game are high priorities. So what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Woo, man, Corey Seager. I was hoping we get that one, but there was no way. There's no way Brian Cashman's given 10 years to dang near anybody. 10 years, bro? Do you know how long? 10 years in sports is like, wow. That's nuts. That's crazy. That's crazy, man. Sanjay says, low on player you like today. Man, I think a lot of what I do like will be contingent on the news that comes out. I don't have a pulse on the ownerships yet. But if I do look at value, I haven't updated this in like 2 hours since I've been on the air. Nas Little projects extremely well. 3,500, put him at almost 27 fantasy points. Larry Nance as well. Jakob Poeltl. I don't know that any of these guys are low owned or not because I haven't looked at ownership projections. But two names that stood out to me were already Gabe Vincent without Tyler Hero. Looks like a strong play. If Jimmy Butler's out, only gets better. And if Zach LaVine is out, gotta like the chances of Kobe White to get there. And he's looked like he's stretched out for deep minutes, right? So there's that. Does Marcus Morris become the number 2 on the Clippers? Number 2? I don't think so. I think he could be a good value play. I think it's Paul George 1, Reggie, maybe Bledsoe 2. Yeah. Rangers are definitely spending some money, man. Hopefully it works out for them. I got no quarrels with the Rangers, and I don't know many people were ready to give up 10 years for anybody. So they're gonna hopefully it pays off for them. So Gunn loves Wood tonight. Doesn't mind a couple of What about Hart for late night as a bounce back spot? He struggled versus Utah. Yeah, I don't mind Josh Hart. Remember there was a big stretch that Josh Hart was getting really deep minutes. There was some limited Ingram. There was some Devontae Graham being out, stuff like that. But I think Josh Hart is active when he's on the court. Maybe has some friends still at the soon-to-be crypto center. I think he's a peripheral getter, stat sheet stuffer. So definitely wouldn't mind him in the player pool, but he's not somebody I'm going to go out of my way to make sure I have. But he's in the mix, and I'm I admit that I'm a sucker for the late night hammer, right? I like to have a little bit of PMR at the end of the night. So a couple of these guys that look like they can outperform their salary, I'm with it, right? If you had to lock one person from the late game, who? From this late game, lock one person. I think I would, prioritize points per dollar. So I think it's going to be Reggie Jackson. I think Reggie Jackson against my buddy Devontae Graham can kind of get there for me. Devontae's kind of cheap on DK at 4,800, but I think it would be Reggie Jackson. And that's all I got to say about that. All right, chat. We're going to do 2, right? Did we get to 120? We'll do 2 week passes. Give them away. Hey. Yo, Caitlin, appreciate that follow. Welcome to the channel. I'm trying to verify how many likes we got. And I'm just getting all the ads. 122. So, yeah, we'll do 2 week pass giveaways. And, boom. Number 1. Plan B smoothies. By the way, I need you guys to type your Twitter handle in chat and then DM me on Twitter, twitter.com/Gundacker. Number 2, Logan, who I think Logan was due to re-up his month pass anyway, so you get a free week on that. And I don't know, chat. What are you guys thinking? A third one? What about Hart for late? Oh, yeah, we got that. Thoughts on Jeremiah Robinson for OKC? I don't know what they're doing with him, man. One day he starts, and then it seems like the bump for Robinson Earl is like when you catch them on a back-to-back, front or back, they seem to stagger the rest of Muscala and Derek Favors, right? So if that were the case, if we did get a Favors or a Muscala out, then maybe I'd introduce him into the pool. But right now I got no warm or fuzzies on that, right? We're going to do one more. We're going to do one more. ABG, already a Viper. So shout out to Plan B, Logan, and ABG. We'll try and give away maybe another one tomorrow. But you guys absolutely crushed it today, man. You guys brought the views. You brought the hype. You brought the fire. So hopefully tomorrow you'll bring the screenshots, and we'll have a lot more fun. Our boy Rod should be back tomorrow. I think that's it, right? Yeah, Rod's will be back tomorrow. If you guys do want to jump into the RunDFS.com VIP, you can still do it. 20% off any pass using promo code CYBER, like my boy Leighton just did not too long ago. Get into that RunDFS.com pre-lock voice chat. I'll be in there up until lock, making my player pool. Might have to order me a Subway sandwich. I'm getting hungry. So maybe you hear my fat self scarf down a steak and cheese or something like that. But otherwise, man, you guys crushed it today. Twitter.com/Gundacker. If you got anything else for me, DMs are open. And yeah, man, I hope you guys win all the money tonight. I appreciate you guys making part of my day, be part of your day. I love you guys. I mean that. Good luck. God bless. And go win some money.